All right, Joshua Doxtator, General Manager, the Jack Nicklaus Signature Course at Harbor Shores Resort, also the proud host of the 2022 KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship, Harbor Shores Resort, where across the pond has a whole new meaning. I love that. Harbor Shores with an S, resort.com. Joshua, pleasure to be speaking with you today. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We're thrilled to have you on. We're thrilled to be working with you. Harbor Shores Resort is I've read the most recent feature that we have in the winter issue of Elevated Jet Setter a few times. It's such a well written piece that you had done, jet setting the shores of Lake Michigan. It's fantastic, and it must be, I don't think fantastic is the right word. It just must be simply incredible being, I mean, yourself, PGA, and being the general manager of Harbor Shores.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an incredible not only place, but what we're able to offer to anybody who steps foot in Southwest Michigan, right on the shores of Lake Michigan. As you've read in there, we have a private air mile or an airstrip only just a mile from the golf course here. So,
Right.
we cater to those who want a little bit of a different experience and maybe what you would say an elevated experience.
Thank you very much. Yes, no, absolutely. And in that piece, there was a line I really love, and basically it was Harbor Shore, like it's golf luxury, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, when you step foot on site, that's how we separate ourselves from everybody else. You have a ton of great resorts across the world, but we go above and beyond in doing our best to make sure you remember us for great things, and taking time to personally engage with you, make sure that from top to bottom everything's taken care of, and we can make anything happen. If you can dream it up, we can figure out a way to bring it to life.
And that is so exceptional. That in itself is what truly, and it's one thing to say it, but then to be able to do it. That's what really sets you apart from it. And as you just so aptly said, there of course, I mean, there are more fantastic golf courses, golf resorts, if you will, throughout the globe. Yet there are, in my opinion, there are a select number that truly are at the caliber of Harbor Shores.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, there's we have great golf. We know that it's the only Jack Nicklaus Signature Course on Lake Michigan. We host a major championship, so we have a lot of things going for us. But I think at the end of the day, what separates you from everybody else is creating those memories for every guest that steps on property. And I look at all the places I've had the opportunity to go and travel to, and it could be a sandwich that I had that just blew my socks off. I may not remember any single golf hole, but I remember that sandwich I had at the turn, or something along those lines, or somebody who went out of their way to make sure that my experience was better than anywhere else. And I think that's our mindset here every day, and that's why I'll proudly say we're better than everybody else.
That is a great way to put it. Those are the things that truly create the lasting memories. They really are. And with respect to another point that I found incredible is that Harbor Shores is one of Jack Nicklaus's favorite signature courses. Correct?
Yeah, it's he touted it as one of his favorite 18 designs. And there was a book published about his favorite 18, and we were proud to be on the cover of that. And I think for Jack and his work here in the Benton Harbor area, what people who had been here prior to the whole development getting underway understood what it looked like to see abandoned factories and kind of a community left behind. But there was leaders within the Whirlpool Corporation who, if you didn't know, Whirlpool's home base is here, national or global headquarters is here, North American headquarters are here. This is where they started in 1911.
Right. I read that.
Um,
Yes.
so those leaders and leadership had a commitment to the community that they were never going to leave, and that they would do whatever they could to make sure that this community and place was thriving. And Harbor Shores was built on that base. And when you had industry leave in the 70s, going overseas, they left behind a bunch of abandoned factories and just desolate buildings. And Whirlpool Corporation and community leaders work with the state and federal officials to access and get the parcels of land put together. And it's not typical that you see a golf course that expands over 530 acres. Your typical
It's
golf course
amazing.
is,
Yeah.
it is amazing. I mean, a typical golf course is 130 acres. So when you're 4 times that size, yes, it's a massive undertaking, but at the same time, it really presents itself in a unique space in such a beautiful area, and it's revitalized the community. You know, the tax base was zero prior. Now it's in excess of $50 million.
That
You
is
know, just to the
simply,
local.
that is sensational. That and often with a certain, with something along, a resort, so to speak, when it does enter into a community or whatnot, there can be mixed feelings and whatnot. Yet, how incredible that Harbor Shores Resort is literally the beacon on the hill, so to speak, for the community.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there were challenges when it was going through. You have people who have been here for a long time, and they're maybe a little bit nervous about putting in something of this magnitude and the infrastructure that's involved. But it's done nothing but really um, help and assist the community. A lot of the things we do here at the club, we host the only on-site location for the first tee in the Midwest. We service over 1,000 kids annually through that program.
Wow.
And then outside of that, we host a Whirlpool Community Charity Golf event every year, where over 2 days we raise $2.5 million. And that fully funds our Boys and Girls Club, our first tee, and then also assists 3 different school districts in specialized programming.
That's incredible. That is truly incredible. I would
So,
imagine
they
that.
talk about,
Go
well, I
ahead,
was
sir.
just going to say, they talk about golf being good for a community, but there's no story better than ours here at Harbor Shores.
No, that is. Yeah, I was going to say that sounds quite unparalleled in your industry.
Yeah, definitely so. We're proud of it. And I think, for us, and that's something that I encourage everybody on our team, is to make sure people know why we're here, why we exist. And, at the core of who we are, we're here to give back to the community. And it's great to be able to do that on a daily basis.
And on that note, with Harbor Shores, and I definitely want to dig into in a moment from the moment someone arrives in at the private airport and going through the entire experience, with respect to being connected to the community with Harbor Shores, at Harbor Shores Resort, you can become a part of the community because along with you can live in Harbor Shores.
Absolutely. We our development has gone gangbusters since opening the doors. We can't build the development fast enough to suit everybody who wants to have a piece of Harbor Shores here. Right here, there's 4 or 5 different areas where we have development going on in single family, multifamily homes. We just finalized a development with Whirlpool. They're putting in a new apartment complex here in the marina to help engage and attract talent from across the world to be here at global headquarters. So, there's a lot going on in that respect. And again, it's just continuing to build out on that vision that leadership had, 15, 20, 30 years ago.
Amazing. What an incredible story. And to be the general manager of this, just really, to use the word again, unparalleled, amazing golf resort. It must be life changing.
Absolutely. I've had the opportunity to be at quite a few places in their own right, significant, and done some great things. But, when you're on a daily basis, walking the talk and fully engaged and committed into the community, and you also get to host a major championship. I mean, it's the best of every world if you're in the golf business. And, I've been extremely fortunate in my career, and there's no place I'd rather be than Harbor Shores.
Well said, my friend, and kudos to you. I love it. And speaking of hosting the major tournament, you have the upcoming KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship. How incredible is that?
It's exceptional. Again, we typically have it, or we've had it, I should say, every other year since 2012. Of course, 2020 was canceled because of COVID.
Right.
So it's had a 4-year hiatus, and we have it back this year. So there's just a lot of eagerness within the community to get it back here. And then you have a lot of these the players that I know I grew up watching, like David Duval, Phil Mickelson, Jim Furyk, some of these other guys who are now eligible to be able to play in the Senior PGA Championship. So we're really excited about that. We expect to have record-breaking attendance in that respect. And get to see some of these legends of the game tee it up on a golf course that you have the opportunity to see every day.
I'm looking forward to tuning into that. Absolutely. And with respect to you just used the word record breaking with respect to attendance for the upcoming KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship at Harbor Shores. What has, somewhat of a loaded question, of course, but since the pandemic, since COVID began March, April 2020, what has it been like for you at Harbor Shores?
Well, believe it or not, golf was probably one of the few industries where the pandemic helped
Exactly.
tremendously, right?
Right.
Because it was one of the only activities you could do that was deemed responsible because you were outdoors. But at the same time, too, you had to jump through a lot of hoops, especially in the initial stages when not understanding transmission rates and things like that, and are having people come in to check in the golf shop, and we had to find a way to engage the guest without getting too close and being sensitive to their personal space and being sensitive to their level of, well, ultimately sensitivity to COVID and what that looked like. So I just had an interview with a magazine not that long ago, and they were asking me that question about how do you go about doing that during a pandemic. And to me, it's all about managing the expectation. When they're reserving their starting time, let them know what to expect when they pull up on site. Are you comfortable with us grabbing your clubs? If not, we'll be happy to assist you, walk you to where you need to be, but hands off, sort of thing. And I think it was just constantly evolving, and with the guests level of sensitivity in mind at all times. But if you're upfront on the communication piece and can manage those expectations, it's hard for anybody to be upset.
Right, right. Well said. Well said. And it definitely is with respect to, and of course, the your players, both long term, and then also, I'm sure you, or I would guess, sorry, that with golf, the golf industry doing so well, being one of those industries where COVID was a silver lining, yachts, luxury real estate, golf, that you did see an elevated number of new guests, correct?
Yeah, without question. We saw a lot of people returning back to the game that maybe had given it up, as they were starting careers or things like that. Because we're fortunate to be in a close proximity to Chicago, only 90 miles east of Chicago. We've, from not only golf but our real estate side, we've seen so many people making that transition from a major city such as Chicago, and deciding to live in the, I guess you could consider, a small resort type town, and be able to commute in and out of Chicago. So from the real estate side, had a huge impact. From the golf side, absolutely. Our equipment sales and fittings went through the roof over the last couple of years. People want to get new equipment. Of course, they're getting back in the game, and just from a retail side of things, we saw a spike across the board in every category.
Right. And with the beauty of again, with respect to it being a silver lining in golf and whatnot, it was also simply golf directly correlated with this. Is it was a silver lining in that it gave people that forced opportunity, though of course at the time they didn't see it as a quote unquote opportunity, but the forced opportunity to take a step back and appreciate that we do have this one life, and what are those things that I cherish and love, or that I've always wanted to do, and golf being one of those. And then wanting to experience it the best way possible. And it's not, and what's also another silver lining in my opinion, tell me, I'd love to get your thoughts, is that it's not a one-off. It's everlasting. That's just such an important asset, if you will, that people were able to, and still are, obviously it's ongoing and quite possibly always will be, but really have been, again, forced, provided to them. And that's obviously what you see at Harbor Shores.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, for being a PGA golf professional and being in the business for almost 20 years now. It was interesting to me prior to that, let's say 2010 to 2000, well, almost 20. We were trying to find ways to get people to come out, and ensuring them that they wouldn't have to be out there for a long time, because that was one of the biggest challenges we faced, was saying, well, it takes 4 to 5 hours to play a round of golf, and then if I decide to have drinks after, that's another hour, and then my day shot. And like you had said, with the pandemic, people started to say, you know what, to be able to spend 4 hours outside, fresh air, playing golf, this is great. I don't mind this anymore.
Dream come true.
Go, I don't have to go into my job or position of work to be able to get things done. I can do that in the morning, play golf, go home at night, finish up, and do things from home. And I think that was the biggest piece of, what we saw, where people were like, again, cherishing the things that really matter and saying, if I'm going to spend my recreational dollars somewhere, I'm going to do it at someplace exceptional.
Right, exactly. Yes, I'm going to play as much golf as I can at one of the greatest resorts courses on the planet, and it's going to be at Harbor Shores. I'm going to buy the yacht and spend as much time as I can on it with my friends and family. And when I'm not doing that, I'm going to be at Harbor Shores, etc. And it is, and to be able to, circling back to what you stated at the beginning of our conversation, not only to engage with your amazing guests that you've had for a long time and your new guests, but further providing them an unparalleled experience that they really can't find anywhere else. I mean, that must be so truly rewarding.
Yeah, definitely so. When we put a lot into the on-site, right? Like once you step on site, we want to make sure that the only thing you're worried about is having a good time. So, in relation to that, if someone stays in our villa, which is on the first tee here, up front, we did this a lot in this past season, we'll set up a chef's dinner, or our executive chef either here in the restaurant, and we'll shut it down specifically for that group, or they'll come over to the villa and they'll cook in the kitchen in the villa and create this just amazing experience for you and your guests. We'll stock the fridge with local craft brews and things like that. If you want, select bottles of certain things, we'll make sure it's all in there and ready to go for you. Like I said, we know how important it is for those who come on site to be able to just disengage, kind of reconnect with friends and family, or if it's just time to get away. And we want you to focus solely on that and nothing else. And I think that's what we pride ourselves on is, leave it up to us. We'll figure everything out that you need ahead of time. We'll make sure it's taken care of. And all you got to do is step on site and enjoy your time.
Enjoy your time. And of course, at the core of that is enjoying your time on over 500 acres of one of Jack Nicklaus's favorite designed courses. As best as you can, describe that, because that's, I mean, as you said so well, most great courses, if you will, are, say, give or take 100 plus acres, but over 500 acres. What is that like? And on the shores of Lake Michigan, in this fantastic, spectacular location, what is it truly like?
Honestly, I can't describe it. It's something you have to see for yourself, because, I know that when the PGA of America was searching for a general manager for the property, working with the leaders here at Harbor Shores, and I was in communication, and I looked it up online, and I'm like, wow, this looks amazing, and I had heard of it, but I had never been. And then when I came on site, it blew me away. Like
right.
it was one of those things where you're like, as exciting as it is to visit different properties and places, and some of the best destinations in the world, you don't have to go to Bandon, Oregon, and you don't have to go to the middle of Prairie or Valentine, Nebraska, or some of these other places. I think that's one of the great things. But for Jack to be able to put this golf course together over 20, 30 parcels of land that they pieced together over a decade, have Jack Nicklaus come in to route this golf course. I know that when he was routing the golf course, he had like 12 or 13 different designs of how it was going to be played, just because of all the different terrain and the Pawpaw River that flows through the golf course, and then of course the shores and dunes on Lake Michigan, and just trying to create the best 18-hole concept that he could. And he did an unbelievable job. The golf course itself offers 4 different diverse terrains. We open up inland from the clubhouse going out towards Lake Michigan, and it's kind of a resort style feeling. 7, 8, and 9 are on Lake Michigan. And then you go up into the woodlands on 10 through 13, and then 14 through 18 finish along the Pawpaw River. So it's just like it's incredible. It never gets boring. I think that's the other thing too, is you have a lot of golf courses that have one or two holes that you remember, and I can honestly say at Harbor Shores, you're going to remember all 18.
That is such a significant statement. Such a significant statement. And so from the moment you've touched upon it so well, but from the moment someone arrives at the private airport, minutes away, then do you engage with them as they're at the airport, or is it upon arrival at Harbor Shores?
Yeah, so typically I'll connect with their pilots. We'll get everything set up through our hangar and make sure all the services and things that they need are there. But our drivers will meet them when they arrive and basically get them loaded up. Have a short 3-minute drive to typically the clubhouse or the villa or the inn.
3-minute drive. That's amazing.
Everybody settled in, checked in, and like I said, at that point, typically within 20 minutes of landing, they're sitting behind the villa in Adirondack chairs with a fresh beverage.
I love it. That is, Joshua, that is amazing. That is such an experience. There are very few places that, whether it's golf, ski resort, etc., there are very few places where that is possible.
Yeah, we're very proud of it. Like I said, it's something you have to experience. I hope you get the opportunity to. We'd love to have you.
Well, thank you very much. I am going to take you up on that offer. That is a fact. And on that note, Joshua, I have taken a bit of your time, and I know that you're probably busier than ever on a Friday in general and going into this strong weekend. I imagine this is going to be a huge weekend for you, yes?
Well, right now it's all preparations for the championship. We'll be hosting the championship Memorial Weekend here in just, we're under 100 days out. So there's a lot of moving parts. We're getting ready. The build will start happening soon. So grandstands, skyboxes, and all that will be going in here, and ultimately getting ready to kick off another great season.
How exciting! And as you touched upon, in that the KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship has been there, but now that it's coming back after 4 years, this must be just such a truly, heralded, exciting moment for you.
Yeah, without question. Like I had said, we were geared up. We were ready to go in 2020, and the plug was pulled April 1st. So we were 6 weeks out from getting things going. And that took a significant blow, but here we are again. We feel really good about where we are and it coming back. And like I said, just the entire community is so engaged. They're so fired up. They can't wait for it to come back. And then the addition of all these players that are now eligible to play just will culminate into the best championship we've ever hosted.
I love it. You must, Joshua, I was just thinking, you must be probably one of the biggest celebrities in Harbor Shores.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but I do think it's important to be engaged in the communities that you're in, and I think for us, it's more of creating those relationships, because as you know, relationships get the job done.
That is very well said, my friend. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have, or anything that we didn't touch upon before I unfortunately have to let you go?
No, I don't think so. Again, I appreciate the opportunity and the partnership with Elevated. And, like I said, hopefully we can get you guys out here to experience Harbor Shores for yourself.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we'll definitely look forward to that. And again, I'm definitely going to take you up on that very generous offer. And again, thank you so much for your time. I know how valuable it is. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you. Joshua Doxtator, PGA General Manager of the Jack Nicklaus Signature Course at Harbor Shores Resort and proud host of the 2022 KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship, Harbor Shores with an S, resort.com. Joshua, have an amazing rest of your Friday and a fantastic weekend.
You as well. Thanks again.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.